best to find a showroom near you.
No doubt right now your focus at home probably is on the beautiful decorations that you have outside of your house, and you're looking kind of out and up. But we want to talk a little bit this morning about looking underneath your house, specifically at the crawl space and the foundation of your house. Eric Knowlton is here. He is with AFS. He's going to help us kind of get an education on the reasons why we should be protecting that crawl space and maybe not taking some assumptions that we could have been making. So good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having us.
Great to see you. So I've had 4 houses, I guess, in my life. My second to last one was old and had a problematic crawl space. When we bought the house we have now, and I will tell you that we're a customer of yours, one of the selling points, besides everything else about the house, totally encapsulated that crawl space, so I could eat in my crawl space if I wanted to.
Wonderful.
And never have a worry.
Wonderful.
You say water is never a good thing.
Right, and I think unfortunately there's been a misconception over the years that people just assume crawl spaces are supposed to be damp and gross and muddy, and it's under my house, so who cares? But the reality is your crawl space is just as much a part of your home as your attic or any other room. Right? In fact, it can be more important. So the thing that we focus on in helping people with first is just education. We want them to know that if you have unresolved moisture under your house for any reason, it puts both the structural integrity of your home in jeopardy as well as the health of the people who live in the house.
Right.
Because so much of the air that we breathe in our homes comes from our crawl space.
Right. Okay, let's think about that, for example, because I think most places, most homes in the Chattanooga area have a crawl space as opposed to a basement.
Right.
Is that right?
Right, they do, yeah.
So I never get the science of this right, but is it that in the summer things restrict and then in the winter when it cools off it expands, or do I have that in reverse?
Right, so the most important thing to consider is what does crawl space venting actually do? Right, so we've seen this evolution in understanding of the way crawl spaces actually work. A little bit of a history lesson, but going all the way back into the 50s when they really began to close in houses to protect ductwork and HVAC and things like that, they realized that they'd created a moisture trap. So they tried to resolve that by putting black plastic on the ground and knocking holes in the walls, hoping to create cross ventilation. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. And we've seen this transition. The U.S. Department of Energy has done a huge study, and then of course AFS through Groundworks has helped hundreds of thousands of homeowners. So what actually ends up happening is, because your roof is vented as it's supposed to be, when air gets sucked in through the vents, it doesn't go back out the other side. It comes up through the house and out your attic. Well, unfortunately, your crawl space is much cooler than the exterior most of the time. And when you suck in that hot air into that cool crawl space, you create a major temperature variance, which obviously results in increased humidity. 1 degree of temperature variance outside to inside, that represents 2.2% relative humidity increase. And if you have a crawl space where your humidity levels stay above 60%, mold and wood rot is an eventual inevitability.
Right. And when that eventuality hits, a big price tag comes along with it. So one thing you like to stress is that you don't pretend to be an inexpensive solution, but you do make it affordable because you offer great financing.
Yeah, we do. And I'm the first to say that AFS, we're not the right company for every homeowner, right? The type of people that we love to help and enjoy working with us are people who understand that their home, as it is for me and it is for most of us, is the most expensive thing we ever buy, right? And it also appreciates if we take great care of it. So the people that we like to work with are folks who are genuinely committed to doing it the right way, to getting a permanent fix. Because the most expensive home improvement project is the one you did twice.
Right, that's a good quote.
Right, so we are, as far as pricing goes, we are extremely competitive in the industry. But sometimes these are things people just don't plan for.
Well, okay, let me ask you this, because we only have a couple of minutes left.
Yeah.
But we have a mixture of housing types around here, from ranchers to cottages to new builds to all of it. And they're not all going to have the same problem. So sometimes people are afraid to make that call, I think, for fear it's going to be a heavy price tag. Do you always go in and say, okay, you need to encapsulate? Or might you go in and say, let's just put a dehumidifier in, or let's do this other project?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Our job is to be a consultant.
Okay.
So after we arrive at your home and we chat, and we want to make sure we understand everything that's unique about both the story of your house and your individual concerns and goals, we're going to design a customized solution. Right. Now, if you do have a moisture problem, there is a major misconception out there that you can just stick a dehumidifier under the house. And unfortunately, there's a lot of homeowners who've been taken advantage of by organizations who do that. Because when you put a dehumidifier under a house without encapsulating it first, it's basically the same thing as turning on your air conditioning and opening your windows. It doesn't work.
Okay.
It never really controls the humidity. Plus, dehumidifiers are not inexpensive, and then they just wear out.
So here's what happened. I mean, I know you probably sat down thinking, okay, we'll have plenty of time to begin the education process, but no, class has to dismiss because I've got to go on. But let me let people know how they can reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it is each one going to be customized for their need.
For sure.
So if people contact you at afsrepair.com, you can also find a phone number on there if you want. But if you just schedule an appointment, they'll come out, no cost to you.
Absolutely.
Walk through your home, see where the issues are, and you might be noticing issues in the top of your house, cracks and things, that could still be reflective of what's happening in your foundation.
Absolutely.
Great to see you, Eric.
You too. Thanks for having us.
I feel smarter now.
Wonderful.
Car collisions are dangerous enough, but when it's an 18-wheeler truck, the results can be catastrophic. Truck accidents can cause serious injuries to other